Hi, and welcome back to Paperclip Wine Time.
Woo!
Alright, so this episode for tonight, we are going to go ahead and start with our wine because I feel we both really need it.
I am out of it. If you guys can't tell, I am loopy right now. I don't know what it is. I'm exhausted. I am tired. I am like spread thin. But I feel like I'm high. Like it's not even funny. And you, the way you acting is just kind of fucking creepy.
Like I haven't just had 2 full days of rest, right?
Yeah. Bitch, I haven't seen you in 2 days. What the fuck?
I know.
You should have more than enough rest without me telling you what to do.
So let's go ahead and get into our wine. This is a barrel burner Chardonnay. This is so cute. I love this label.
I like the label.
Right?
It makes it look like burnt paper, sort of.
Yes.
It's cute.
This is a Paso Robles winery 2017 bottle. And of course, I got this at my favorite location, Lee's Liquor. We've already started pulling out the cork because this is how bad we need it. So barrel burner is our Chardonnay for today. Amiga, I need your glass, please. Because I know you've had a very So you've had a very interesting, stressful week.
Oh God, it's the least we can say about it.
Yes, so we both needed this wine time. A little piece of news of today. My second day off since I started my new job.
Yay!
I actually got into designing prints for merch. So we will be having merchandise coming up soon.
Ooh.
Shirts, and I'm looking into wine glasses with some Paperclip wine time design. So you guys look out for it. It will be on our Facebook, our YouTube, and everything. And I'm gonna start showing off some of these designs. So
we're working on it, y'all.
We're working on it.
All
so
that matters.
Merch is coming up. Amiga, I think
Cheers.
This is the best way to start our episode with a nice little clink. Cheers, our friends. That's a shot at me.
Woo!
A little on the dry side.
Let me just say, that's how dry it was. Oh, that's my boo-boo from building the gate, the fence. Oh yeah, I've been building the fence to grow. Sorry.
The things moms do.
And being part of today's episode, I am
Mother's Love.
There you guys go.
It might sound a little bit off, but I kind of felt that when it comes to motherhood, that's the one thing that kind of encompasses
everyone. I think everyone. Because let me just tell you, there's every which way type of mother. No one is perfect as a mother. They are bad mothers, and we'll get into that a little later. But the love a mother has for their child is the same. It's just love, unconditional love. Yeah. So I think it fits perfect.
Yeah, it does. It does. So I say we get started with some of our current events.
Oh God. My first one that makes me the happiest, if you can see it on my face, is that amazing debate from 2 days ago. Let me just tell you, I don't like to speak politics normally with other people because we all have different points of views, and I honestly try to avoid situations where people get me pissed off and lead to an argument. There's just certain things which I've mentioned in episodes before. There's certain things I don't like to talk about with other people just to keep the peace and sanity in my head. But with the fact that the debate was I think I got stupider just watching it. I kid you not. Yes, I said it. Stupider. Okay? I don't know. Obviously, I'm not a Republican. If you are, guns ho to you. That's your agenda, not mine. But I mean, Trump, come on, you guys. This guy is like ridiculous. You know, the way he speaks and communication skills are not the best. But then let me just go ahead and tell you about Biden. Sweet old soul, let me just tell you. Old being the main word in that sentence. I'm just honestly tired of seeing old white men running for president or being presidents. I would like to see a young Latino, someone from the LGBTQ community, someone of color, someone native. I mean, there are so many different people out in the world or out in the United States that can represent our country in a way better, better manner than. Not saying that Biden would, because Biden is for the people a lot more than Trump is. But like I said, I'm just tired of seeing the same old white people up there. Like, let's get someone else in the house.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people are against it, but I mean, when Obama was in office,
it was proud to be Hispanic.
Yeah.
Even to have I'm not black, but I was still proud to see someone of color up in the White House doing what they have to do. Mm-hmm. You know, everything that he did was not the greatest, because I'm not going to sit here and say that he was the best president ever. No one's going to beat my Kennedy. But it's just because I had a crush on him. And I always thought I was Jackie O. But the fact that he still was a person of color who triumphed from, humble beginnings and, led, this country into a somewhat better place from when he had gotten it, because when he got it right before Bush, I'm just tell you, that was the worst time. It could have been him, it could have been someone that was Republican. They would have received a really bad piece of the country at that time.
Yeah, which is basically the same of what's going on right now. Because I feel like whoever...
anybody needs to, other than Trump.
I feel if Trump wins this election, I'm going to feel extra bad for the next person to come into office.
And that's if he even allows it, because let me just tell you,
God, yes.
If other people think about dictatorship and think about, not socialism, what's the other one? Communism and stuff. Let me just tell you, this man sounds like he would lead to a road of power where he will not be able to let it go, because he said it. He will not hand over power or control to the next person as easily, or yada yada yada. Yeah. This man will stomp his feet, cry in the office if someone else beats him. So I don't know, but he gets another 4 more years. Like Bob said, we're fucking leaving the country. He's like, we're moving down to Costa Rica, and I'm just like, oh, God.
I mean,
oh God.
I did not watch the debate, in part because I knew it was gonna end up being a joke, basically, because that's basically anything that's going on right now in politics. It's all basically a joke.
Yeah.
I just started a new job, so I go to sleep extra early, and I need to make sure that I get my 8 hours of sleep because I'm up at 4 in the morning. So I did only catch the highlight, basically the highlight reel, and everyone else's POV on it, and the clips that I did see were just...
Biden called him a clown.
Yes. Oh my God, I loved it.
No, but what did piss me
off... Uncle Joe was the shit right
there. You see
what
what I'm saying?
Because he did shut him up
a couple of times, and he did also stand up for what he thought. And the one thing that I tell you that I did like and fell in love with this man even more was the fact that he would turn around, face the camera, and talk to the American people out there, telling them. And then whatever, he went back and forth, and then he will go back and talk to them. You need this, you need whatever he was saying, but he was looking at the camera. Trump never looked at the camera to talk to anybody. He only kept on talking to Biden. And what really irked me is Biden here is trying to show another point of view of why, he should be chosen as president. As far as, he has, a son who was in the military. Unfortunately, he died. Yeah. And he's trying to use that as an example, obviously, to get into other people's hearts, but also use it as an example of, you know, what Trump is trying to do to get rid of Obamacare and, you know, get rid of all these other stuff with pre-existing conditions. And he's, you know, trying to use that as an example. And here comes Trump, petty as he is, goes and tells him, starts talking about Hunter's the one that's still alive. And I guess Hunter was in the military and had gotten kicked out because he had a coke addiction or something like that at that point. So he tries to like, who, Hunter? And he's like, no, Bo. He's like, oh, I don't know Bo. I only know Hunter, who was a drug addict who was kicked out of the military because of, you know, his addiction. And yet Biden kept talking. And when he finally, I guess, caught on to what he was saying, he turned around and he looked at the American people and he said, my son had an addiction. He walked himself out of that situation. He is doing so much better now, and I cannot be any more prouder than my son right now. And for that, it's just like, that goes to show you what type of man he is, period.
Exactly.
So why wouldn't you want
someone... He's not trying to sweep anything under the rug. I mean, I think in that position, Trump kind of played a dirty card in the fact that Biden was able to stand up.
Girl, because Biden just shut him up.
Yeah, exactly. Because at the end of the day, I mean, come on, let the record state, Trump and his sons have never served in the military.
That's another thing. I think he had brought it up, or the correspondents brought it up afterwards, that he avoided the military, going into the military 3 or 2 times, whatever it is. One had to do like with the toe situation. Doctor said he lied after years or whatever. He said he lied. And his sons have never served a day. Yeah. So for the fact that you're going to sit here and try to take away from, you know, Biden's son, who actually even joined. Yes, he may not have lasted because he had an addiction problem. Mm-hmm. That's a health issue. And he got kicked out. Doesn't mean shit when Bo also was in the military and he proceeded on to become, you know, a high member of the military, you know. When have they even touched a foot on a military base if it wasn't for his dad, for Trump being president? They never would have. So, shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up.
I mean, some people should really stop throwing stones when they live in glass houses. So, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I did see a lot of highlights on this debate. I'm glad I didn't watch it, especially because I heard it was commercial free.
Yes, an hour and a half.
So,
girl.
No, thank you.
No,
I watch an hour and a half worth of movies and TV shows.
Let me just tell you. And then poor Chris Wallace. I love Chris Wallace. He's a Republican, but you know, he's on Fox News, but he's very neutral. Mm-hmm. And he tries to be neutral. But man, was he telling Trump, like, is this true, blah, 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 you know? And then Trump obviously tried to go away from the question. He's like, I'm asking you a question. The question is blah, blah, blah. And when, you know, Trump first started with Biden, and then Biden did go back and interrupt Trump multiple times, obviously. But he would tell him, you know, you need to let him talk. You guys agreed, your party agreed that you guys were going to let him talk, you know. And he put Trump in his place a couple of times, and he did kind of put Biden in his place a couple of times. And I'm like, oh, poor Chris Wallace was sitting there having to, like, shut 2 grown-ass men. No, you. I was just like...
Well, at least Chris Wallace did have that little bit of experience in dealing with preschoolers. Basically.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
So, yeah. You know he appreciates the preschool teachers.
Oh, hell yeah. Fuck yeah, I think I would too. Even just watching it. But, so our other current news is regarding a feel-good story, I would say.
Yeah, I think we're due for a feel-good story.
Yes. So, the San Diego MLS team all walked off the field last night in support of one of their players who is also in the part of the LGBTQ community. He is openly gay, and someone from the Phoenix Rising. Let me just tell you, Phoenix, not fucking cute. Supposedly, I would say supposedly because obviously there's no audio and stuff like that about it, but supposedly did throw a homophobic slur in solidarity to, you know, support their friend, their teammate. They went ahead and walked off, from the coach to the goalie, every single player, and they all gave, you know, were kind of like hugging him on the way out and stuff like that. And they forfeited the game, and they rather forfeit the game and lose points than to try to play against these guys, or one guy who has homophobic slurs. And it's a matter of just showing respect for the sport, showing respect for your fellow player. Don't look at their sexuality. If there's a freaking transgender, let's say male to female softball player that is 10 times better than me, I'm gonna give them props and say, what can I do to get better? Why the fuck am I gonna put you down for being transgender and you're so happen to be playing my sport? I don't care what the hell is between your legs, or was, or is going to be, whatever. That's your prerogative. My point is to go there and play softball.
Yeah.
And
if you're not playing the sport with your private parts, you're playing the sport with your arms and your legs, and that's all that matters.
Yup.
And this player who was, there is absolutely no reason why this homophobic slur should have been brought out in any way, shape, or form. I honestly admire that the entire team stood behind their teammate.
We both have to follow with the same word,
right? I feel that is the best thing that they could have done. I think it shows a lot of respect, a lot of camaraderie, and it's heartwarming to know that, you know, if I were in a situation like that, you know, that I know that my whole team is behind me, you know, because this is a sport, yes. But it is Major League. It is, you know, there's money involved. There's careers involved. But above all, a lot of people forget that there is also pride involved. And this player's sexuality should have nothing to do with the way that he plays, the way that he is an active team member, the way that he respects his teammates. So I think that was a wonderful story. I know there was some comments about it from the
sports anchors.
Yes,
she showed emotion towards the end because she did realize, you know, what was going on, and obviously I think she mentioned something about that she's been in a situation similar to that. So it felt good for her to see that this team, the San Diego team, went back and had their teammate Mark's back and walking off stage. Like, I mean, that feel good. Come on, guys, feel good. Let's not point the finger for who does what, because there's 3 fingers pointing back at you. Let me just tell you, 3.
No, that's true. Alright, so kind of steering towards our topic today, we unfortunately have to go from a feel-good story to a heartbreaking story.
Inspirational.
Heartbreaking and inspirational. This week we did see a post, an update by Chrissy Teigen. I love Chrissy Teigen. I
love
she is
her.
Like the most truest woman.
I love her man. I love her mama. I love her daddy. Her kids are the cutest.
God, they are adorable.
It's just, it just seems like a sunshine just blares out of their fucking buttholes. Like, they just seem so happy.
Yeah.
Go, like, obviously, and that's what she posted, that, you know, not every day is sunshine and rainbows or whatever, but it's just, they just look like good people, period. Yes. And then she stands up for what's right, and she tells it like it is on Twitter. Yes, it's on Twitter, but everyone's on Twitter. And she does not give 2 F's what the other person says. Yeah. Because I know she said shit to, like, Donald Trump to shut the fuck up or something like that.
Yeah, she's gangster.
That's my girl.
Sadly, however, this week she did go through what I believe is one of the most painful situations a woman can go through. After having announced her pregnancy
just a month ago.
Yeah, just a month ago. in John Legend's Wild video. Obviously, I don't think there was one person that had anything bad to say about it. I think everyone, as soon as that video ended, was like, "What?"
Well, everybody's super
I know,
excited.
I was so
her.
excited because I was like, "Oh my god, this is so good!" I think because the fact that she has always been very open about the struggle that she went through to have the Luna, you know. So she announced her pregnancy at the end of this video a month ago, and unfortunately this week she was very open and spoke about losing her baby boy, her little baby boy Jack. She obviously accompanied the post with some very graphic, very true and honest pictures, and it broke my heart. I know that's for sure, because in the stage of her pregnancy that she was already in,
she needed to give birth.
She had to go through the
there
whole
was
entire birthing process.
No question about it.
Yeah, and
she had to push
so hard when you have to push your baby out,
knowing the fact that
you're not gonna hear this baby cry. You're not gonna be able to take this baby home. It breaks my heart for her that she had to go through this, her and John. I know later in the day when she was on her way home, she did I think it was on Twitter that she posted, when you have to go home without your baby in your arms. And that is just so heartbreaking. I feel that this woman has gone through so much already, but the fact that even her post about losing baby Jack was so inspiring, because she does address baby Jack and address the situation that's going on, but she also makes sure to let us know that she is grateful for the life that she has. For everything that she has. Her kids, they're beautiful kids, but it is a hard moment. So the reason this became something very hard for us, aside from the fact that we love her, is that it actually falls into our subject for today. And I don't know, it's painful to think of a woman when you have to go through this type of loss. So
her story is just very inspirational, and she also is very forward and blunt when it comes to her situation, and by all means, kudos to her for doing that. Her knowing the fact that she has so many followers and stuff, she wants to be honest to, I know for a fact, to see if she can help anybody else out there who's going through the same situation, has gone through the same situation, because it's not easy losing a child. I've had a couple of miscarriages, never really talked about them, never to the extent where she had to go through, but it's still not, it's a heartbreaking situation no matter which way you look at it. So with regards of, in her story, it does lead into our episode, which is I Am Mother's Love. And we just pretty much want to touch base as part of our series this season is I Am. And obviously I am a mother. I have a mother and her
Me
love.
too.
And then she has a mother, and you've been a foster mom.
Yes.
So we have different experiences, but still the same love for the children that we are or have raised or helped raise. In A Mother's Love, we learned how to love our kids from our mothers. But let me tell you, I've never met a more independent, strong, resilient, smart, hard-working woman than my mother. I know everyone says that about their mom, because they're going to say the same things about your mom. But, and it's crazy because your mom and my mom kind of had the same footsteps in life, except that your mom had 4 kids and my mom only had 3. But it's crazy because they kind of had the same footsteps, but we feel the exact same way about our moms because mothers love, period.
And I mean, we have touched it. We have touched the subject within this series already, obviously. But I feel that this episode actually needs a little more in-depth description. Every mother has a different relationship. I know my mom has spoken to us about this. You have a different relationship with each child, but that love, that unconditional, never-ending, limitless type of love, it varies for every kid, but it doesn't stop being unconditional and ending. So one of the things that I wanted to bring up is
hell no, I mean she got a list of things.
One of them is the sacrifice.
Oh, yeah.
Because sacrifice, I mean, obviously Cecilia has done a lot of sacrifices. I know Jenny has.
All right, Jenny and Cecilia.
Well, I know your mom and my mom both have started having kids pretty young. Yeah, so they sacrificed their party years.
I did too, girl. Shoot. I was 21 when I got pregnant.
And your mom was how old?
21 when she had me.
Well, my mom had her first one at 18.
Yeah, at 18, yeah.
My mom had her first kid at 18.
Yeah.
So, it's not like she was going out clubbing and partying or anything.
No, but still, like, her path could have been a lot different if she had no kids, by 21, let's say.
Yeah. So, it's a sacrifice that they do, and I know my mom to this day has never regretted her choice of having kids this young and so close to each other.
I know you guys are all like, ooh.
Yeah, we're all pretty close.
Oh no, there's gaps between me and my siblings. You guys are like,
yeah, she was.
I don't know how the fuck she did it. That's the hardest. Well, I wouldn't say that's the hardest. That seems hard to me to have your kids because it's like out of diapers into diapers, out of diapers into diapers. Compared to like I said, me and my siblings are, me and my brother are 5 years apart. Me and my sister are 13 years apart. Between them, it's 8 years. So we, kind of gradually all grew apart, but we are still really close as adults. But still, like, I being in the position that I am, also having a preteen and then having a toddler. I love them, but they drive me crazy. I'm gonna go bald one day. I'm just telling you. But still,
that's why she stopped brushing her hair.
Girl, this is the messy bun look. This is like, I don't want to beat my kids. I'm just kidding. But still, having the fact that you have a preteen, that's 2 different lifespans. Let's just say 2 different eras, kind of raising kids. You have the one that gives you attitude and the one that doesn't stop crying. Mm-hmm. For me, the fact that someone would have kids back to back, knowing the fact how my 2-year-old is, and then having someone who will be 3 and 2, ugh, your mama did it, girl.
Yeah, and so did my sister. So,
oh yeah, my sister's a whole different story. That she was my family goal growing up. I've always wanted 5 to 7 kids, always.
How about now?
We're looking at 2 more. And those 2 back to back to get
them. And I think as a mom, it does kind of fall on you to be more, and in your case especially because you are with them the 24/7, especially now with this whole COVID thing. It does fall on you more to be the disciplinarian. So when they are alone with Bob or your sister, it's like,
all hell breaks loose. Because you can do whatever you want. Yeah. You want 2 popsicles for lunch? Yes, you can have 2 popsicles for lunch. Just stop crying.
Yeah. So
Bella tends to know better. Obviously, she's a little older. She's like a little bit more responsible. She tends to know better, but she tends to try to get away with stuff with Bob because she knows that she has him right here because he'll do whatever it takes to keep her happy and make her smile and shit, So he does spoil her in his own way. Like, you know,
Yeah.
he'll go to the store. He doesn't ask Betty what she wants, but she'll ask Bella what she wants. You know, like just little things like that. I'm just like, she hasn't had dinner. You know, I turn into that. Yeah, and that's his fault.
So yeah, it does fall on you to be the disciplinarian. So, which kind of sucks because then it makes you look like the bad guy.
Yeah. No, I'm just trying to keep everybody in line and in order.
Yeah.
Betty still likes me better though.
yeah.
Betty still like you know, she's attached to my hip right now because I don't know what the hell was. Oh, Bob and I obviously kissing and hugging. I've seen with other people how mom and dad are kissing and hugging, and their kid comes over and pushes them away, but they want daddy. You know.
Yeah.
Betty is totally opposite. She pushes Bob off of me because she wants me, you know, and then she starts kissing me and hugging me. She's like, I love you, Mom. I love you, Mom. I love you, Mommy. You know, like, so I know with her, she has more an attachment with me, but like Bob said, she's like, you're with her 24/7. You coddle her, you do discipline her, but at the same time you don't, because, you know, she's kind of spoiled, like I said. It's my own fault.
So to kind of go back on our topic of the sacrifice of a mother, one of the things that I do remember from my brief time mothering was how, and I believe you knew about this, when I had the kids, it was, I would probably get about 4 hours of sleep a day, and then take them to daycare, go work while they were in daycare, get them a night watch, somebody to watch them over at night, so I can go back and work. And even though I was getting money from the state to kind of help out,
it's not
really
enough.
gonna get to that. And then I remember when I finally got my chance to be like, okay, I'm gonna go to sleep because they're asleep. It's like at the minute you close your eyes,
one of them wakes up.
One of them starts crying. I was seeing a post the other day from, it was, well, obviously about 3 or 4 years ago, when they both got sick at the same time.
Oh.
Getting up all night. It's like, as a mom, in my experience, that's how it was. Being a mom of a 1 or 2 year old. 1 and 2.
Girl.
And both of them were sick at the same time with a very high fever and a cold. The minute I put one to sleep, the other one wakes up. And then at one point in the night when you finally, like, you can't do it anymore, and when you're finally about to catch that little bit of sleep, they both wake up, and you end up having to put both of them in your bed and keep an eye on them and just kind of take any quick little cat nap.
Yeah.
That's one of those sacrifices that I admire on the whole time all alone moms speak. So it's not only the deprivation of sleep when they're sick, it's during the day you have to take them to the doctors. Especially in my case when it was CPS with me, you know, and it was, I know you have to do
everything by the books.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it was like I had to take them to the doctors. I had to, you know, be there with them and have my heart break when they have to get a shot.
Yeah.
You know, for anything. And it's like, it's heartbreaking. It's heart-wrenching. And it's one of those things that I'm like, how do mothers do this all the time? Like, I can't.
It's hard. Even now, I mean, luckily, knock on wood, I've been blessed with Betty that has not gotten sick that often. Unfortunately, with Bella, it was totally opposite. She used to get febrile seizures. So her first one came at 1.5 years, and her dad and I were still together at that time, living in the apartment that I still lived in without him. But I remember having to call 911. She had already been kind of sick, fevers, and we were doing everything they said, just give him a cold bath to kind of like calm it down. And it, you know, once we gave her the bath, we didn't bump her up. We just put her diaper on and we laid her down. And then not even 5-10 minutes later, I remember seeing her eyes rolling back. She paled out, her lips turned purple, and she was just limp. and her dad and I were freaking the fuck out because the first time that ever happened to us. That moment really fucking like elevated my adrenaline, but also shut me down to the point where I can't handle severe situations. Till this day, God forbid something happens, like with the car accident and so on that happened like 2 years ago, or last year, I can't remember, 2 years ago. I get into that shock where my body and my mind shut down, and I literally, you have to snap me out of it to get me. So I know I'm not like every other mom that rushes into like doing super mom mode. For some reason, my mind just shuts down. And remember that first time Bella's dad took over in charge of that situation for me. He kind of had to snap me out of it, call 911. I called 911. They came. We took her to Cedars-Sinai. They helped her out. It's just febrile seizures. You have to watch her fever because she might get them if her fever gets up too high too fast. By the age of 7, if it doesn't happen again after the age of 7, then she's never going to have them again. It usually has like a cutoff point, I guess. So then a year and a half later, when she was 3 years old, I went down to San Diego with a cousin of mine and family and friends, and on the way down, she had no fever, no nothing. She was perfectly fine. And on the way down, I looked back when we had started. I remember this clearly. We started arriving at SeaWorld, and there's giant like Shamu shit all over. And I look back, and I'm telling Bella, can you see the whales or whatever, Shamu? And then no response. So I look back at her, and she's like with her eyes rolled back again. Seizure. She had foam coming out of her mouth this time. And I started freaking the fuck out, and I started like screaming at my cousin, pull over, and yanking her. She pulled over, and we grabbed her out of the back seat. And then like once I saw my cousin had her, it's kind of like a relief that someone's there with me. I shut down. The ambulance showed up. They started asking me questions. They had to start snapping me out of it to answer the questions. And we ended up at the hospital for a few hours. Same situation, febrile seizure. At that point, her dad and I were not together anymore. And it happened 3 other times after that, where her dad and I, we were no longer together. So it happened in a point where I was by myself, or thank the Lord, I was actually dating someone at that time who was there with me when the third time happened, where he helped me out. He took me to the hospital. He was there with me the whole time, even though him and her dad did not get along or didn't like each other. He made sure he stayed there, but also kept his distance once her dad showed up, to be respectful and stuff like that. And those were the scariest moments in my life. Like, I've never been that afraid of anything. But the fact to see your child, like, lifeless like that, it just threw me over the edge. Luckily, like I said, Betty has never gotten sick to that point. The most that she's had is respiratory problems, where she was, like, provided, like, antibiotics with this breathing machine. It literally was gone, like, in 3 days. That was it. That's the worst that she has gotten.
I think when it comes to that, as a woman, I think it's kind of built into your DNA to jump into action.
Yeah.
Especially if you're on your own.
Yeah.
Because if anything like that were to happen when it's just you in the house with the girls, and one of them
just believe I got my bat with me just in case someone breaks in the house. Like, yeah.
But you're ready to jump into action.
Yeah.
So I think if anything were to happen and it's just you and you have nobody else with you, of course you're gonna jump into action. You're not gonna freeze up like
yeah.
When you're with somebody else. But yeah, it's terrifying. So yeah, that's one of the things that mom, and that's the crazy thing, because all of these issues mainly fall on the mom.
Yeah.
Because dad can be at work, can be golfing or whatever the dad does. In my case, or whatever, playing soccer, But it's always the mom, because the mom is always the one on top of them.
Yeah.
I know Nadia, she's the one that's always on top of all of her kids. She doesn't breathe, she doesn't sleep, she doesn't eat, she doesn't anything, but she's always on top of her kids.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, it's always the mom that's on top of the kids. Sadly, however, there is that 1 in a million case. I wish it was 1 in a billion instead of 1 million, but you know, you do have those mothers that, I don't know, I guess they're missing the motherly gene.
I don't know what you would call it. Honestly,
because there's mothers that put everything
selfish
for their kids.
They're selfish in that sense. But I don't know. Like I guess I can never fathom the situation that they're in to like not love their child the way that I love my children. Just because I love my kids so much, I can't see myself not loving my kids. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of hard to explain, but like, I cannot understand a mom who, you know, beats their children, lets their, you know, significant other, whoever it may be, parent or not parent, beat their children, you know, lets their children get molested. Like, just in my mind, I cannot wrap my mind around it as a mom.
I don't want to mention the names, but there is mothers out there that have been in part responsible for the deaths of their children, for the mistreatment of their children. We saw the case of that little boy, you know, where mothers choose a man that's not even the father of the child. They choose a man to torture and kill their own children. That kind of gets to me, because I'm like, how do you do that? I have never had my own children, but any kid that is under my care in any way, situation, anything, because I have nieces and nephews that I have been there as a babysitter, full-time babysitter or whatever, that I would give my life for them. You know, it's like, they're my babies. That's it. You know, I love them to death, and I would give my life for them. So to know that there is women out there that are devoid of this emotion, this feeling, this responsibility as a mother, and allow their children to be fallen into these dangerous, unfortunately, a lot of times,
situations.
Yes, these deadly situations, and that just baffles me.
Yeah.
I'm like, how do you do that?
That's what I'm saying. I can't understand. Like, I can't put myself in their shoes and say, oh, I understand why you did that. And I just can't wrap my mind around a mom who falls short to protect and take care and love their children. I just can't. Like, you know, just like I said, as a mom, you as an auntie understand what is the responsibility to take care of a child, and to have an adult who knows right from wrong, to do something wrong to a child, especially their own child. Never understand it.
Yeah, it's terrifying. I mean, I am very lucky in that sense, because I think when it comes, kind of bringing it back to the sacrifice, when I had the kids, when I had my niece and nephew with me, that's one of the things that I did admire, and it's actually been 4 years ago today that I shared an image about my sister. 4 years ago today, she graduated her first class through her recovery program after she had lost the kids.
Yeah.
And I have a post, and I'll probably share that later on in the video, where you see her, and I have already done this, where I've put a compare and contrast picture that this is when you lost your kids and this is when you got them back.
Yeah.
It's like two completely different people. It's completely different.
Yeah.
I mean, in one of these pictures, she barely had any hair because she was in such a bad situation. But when she got her kids back, you could see this beautiful color in her skin. You know, she looked healthy, she looked radiant, she looked happy. You see her now, she's still there. You know, she's still in that place. And I do admire her for that, because it takes a lot. And I mean a lot, because she did have to go through a lot.
Yeah.
to get to the point from where you lost your child to making sure, well, in her case, children, to making sure she got them back. Because in the case with my sister and me, I was not the easiest person. I have no problem saying it. I was not the easiest person. When my sister lost her kids, I saw her the first time after she lost the kids, and I had the baby with me. We were at court. I had the baby with me, and I had her covered. In her car seat, covered up.
Yeah.
She wanted to come up and see the baby, and I was like, no. And I was like, nope, because she wasn't doing her programming.
Yeah.
She wasn't doing what she was. Well, she already knew she had to get done.
Yeah.
I was like, you want to see your child? You have to do this, and if she didn't do that, I didn't let her see the baby.
Yeah.
So that first time in court, I had already signed all the adoption papers. So, because DCFS, what they do, especially when they're placing a child into a home with their own family, they have you fill out adoption papers. If the parents do not get their shit straight, everything's already ready to go. You've already had these children, and their parents are basically giving away their rights because they're not following through. So that really facilitates, and it's like, okay, everything's already filled out. We'll put it in the docket for the judge, and a couple of months later, that's your kids.
Yeah.
So that was one of the responsibility that I did take upon, because I got the baby girl first. So when my sister came into the court and she saw the baby's car seat, because that's all she really got to see. I did not talk to my brother-in-law's family. I did not talk to my sister. I was in my own little circle because I had to be there with the baby. Yeah. Just to kind of prove that the baby was safe. And I was like, okay. But I was like, nobody's going to see this baby. If the judge tells me I have to let her see her, she can see her. But she's not allowed anywhere away from me. Yeah. I did not allow my sister to come and visit the child until the judge said, or the social worker said it was okay. Yeah. And it had to be approved visitations by the social worker. And the funny thing in that case was the social worker was on top of it with me, because she was like, you're not letting your sister see the kid, huh? And I was like, no. She lost her. I'm not going to put this child through any more danger. Yeah. When my sister finally got to see her kid for the first time, she had already been in a program for 2 weeks. And I was like, okay, she's looking for a change. Because my sister spent, I want to say, the first month homeless in the streets. Because she didn't want to get her help. Yeah. So I was like, you're not going to do this. So I'm not even going to bother. When that time I saw her in the court, I told her, this child will not know who you are, will not know what you are, and you will never have access to this child if you lose her. And it was the hardest thing for me to do, because this is my older sister. Yeah. This is my sister. But at the same time, this was my niece. And this is an innocent child.
Innocent child, I was just going to say.
That deserves a great life. You know, and I was like, I am one of, you know, I was like, I'll leave friends, I'll leave boyfriends, I'll leave anything. Like this child. This child needs me. So to know that I was able to do this for a child that I had actually just met a couple of months prior. Yeah. For the first time. And she was already 4 months old. Yeah. And I had only met her once. So knowing that me, who had just met this kid, I was willing to do all of this, it kind of gets to me when I know here are women that were pregnant, carried their child inside of them, birthed them.
Understand the fruits of their labor.
Yes.
Literally.
And they still managed to pull away, managed to just kill their own love for their child. How do you do that? I can't think of... I can't.
There's no explanation behind it. There's no excuse that you can even think of for anyone to ever do that to a child or do anything that is negative to their own child. Like I told you, I cannot wrap my mind around it. That what would lead you or take you to the point of hurting, getting your child hurt, or killing your child, or whatever. It's just, for me, it's not understandable. I can't.
Yeah, it's just insane for me. Obviously, in the case of my sister, I'm glad to report that she was able to get her kids back.
Yay!
She did everything she had to do.
Amazing.
She has had them back for 3 years now, and they are all doing amazing. I am more and more proud of them.
Karate right now?
They were doing wrestling.
Wrestling, that's what it was. Not karate, wrestling.
Right before quarantine, all the kids except one were doing wrestling, and they were doing really good.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, quarantine kind of put a big stop on that. But no, my baby girl, I'm so proud of her. She got recognition as Student of the Month today.
No way.
So I'm super proud of my baby girl. Yeah, I mean, they're all doing great. They're thriving. They're big. They're healthy. They're happy. And mom and dad are doing amazing. Dad's breaking his back, and they're
working hard,
working very hard. And they both went through their programs. They both went through their
saw the light at the end of the tunnel.
And,
period.
They're doing wonderful, and I'm super, super beyond proud of them. I admire both of them so much. They have 7 amazing babies.
Yeah.
7 amazing
See what I mean?
Yes.
She's my family goals, but
yes.
Changed my mind a little, remember?
Yeah, it's beautiful and it's wonderful, and I'm just so glad. And I think that's one of the things where I'm kind of like, obviously giving the kids back was a bit of a heartbreak for me.
Really? I wouldn't be able to. That's, I think, the only thing that stops me from ever actually fostering, maybe once I get a little bit older. But I've always wanted to foster children, but I think that would be the hardest part for me, is giving the child up. Yeah.
I mean, they did ask me if I wanted to continue fostering, and I was like, I can't do this again. I can't do it. But now, years later, I kind of think about it, and I'm like, that it would be nice, because I do think of all the children that are in the foster system right now, and a lot of these kids. I would care
about the older children.
Yes, exactly. Those are the ones that I'm kind of like, it kind of breaks my heart. Just need a little
extra guidance for a few years. For me, it's like leaving the system at 18 years old. And you get pushed out.
Enough. Yeah, it's like you're still not old enough to survive out there.
No,
it's just so hard.
No.
But yeah, I mean, I have considered doing it again. Obviously, like you said, with the older kids, because they do need that extra little attention, even though it does get harder, because they're already set in their own ways. Mm-hmm. So, and unfortunately, not all of them are as amazing as my nieces and nephews. And we have a huge family. Yeah. A huge family. And a lot of the family actually was able, had the means and the space to take these kids in. Yeah. Unfortunately,
a lot of them didn't.
None of them did. 5 of the 7 kids were in foster homes with strangers who became amazing women. I love these 2 foster women that my kids had, and my nieces and nephews had. They had beautiful, amazing foster moms. And it got to the point where it was like, oh, okay, after a few months, it was like, oh, well, the kids can go and stay with their aunt for the weekend. I would pick them up on Friday after school.
Oh, I remember that. You would get the kids together. Yeah,
I would get them on Friday and drop them off on Sunday. And I had a small Corolla, and here I am with 7 kids
in a small apartment on top of that.
Yes. So, I mean, I have pictures of them all on top of me on my couch. We had fun. I always made sure I made time to have fun with the kids. Yeah. And obviously, involved mom, and when she was already doing her program, mom would come over, help me out. We'd watch movies, we'd always make time to make sure that they knew that their family was not torn apart completely. Yeah. They were just taking a little time off to get mommy and daddy on the perfect track. Yeah. And, but yeah, so that made it I think all of that, you know, going from a house where it was just me, and sometimes, you know, the guy that I was seeing, and it was just, you know, the two of us, you know, and we could just be doing absolutely nothing and just throwing ourselves on the floor and watching TV or whatever. Going from that calm place to this really crazy place where I have 7 kids in my house, and 2 full times, and you know, and then all of a sudden it's like going back to just being me, and it was a very hard transition, and I was like, I need to get out of here, and that's how I got here. So yeah, so I think it's a sacrifice, and you don't have to be a mother, a biological mother, to have that.
You don't have to push that child between your legs through your vajayjay to make the sacrifices as a mom would make those sacrifices, period. There's all types of moms out there.
Yeah. I
have a friend who used to be a party friend, okay? Who is now a foster mom. She adopted 2 young girls, and cute as can be. I mean, she's older than we are, so she's always had that mothering. She had her daughter really young. She only has 1 biological daughter, and she had her really young, but she has always been that motherly type. We all called her our rave mom, you know, because we used to go to raves together. And now I just see her and her 2 new daughters who are like thriving like crazy and are in weird ways similar to her, but they're the cutest little things. One is sassy as can be, and then she always has, like, you know, these kids that she's fostering. And for me, like I said, I see her and how happy she is having all these kids at home, and they all have their own space, their own bed, like all this stuff. And then, like, when she says like a kid has to go, it breaks my heart. So I don't know how she feels about it. Yeah. I could just imagine like me seeing her, what she's doing on a day-to-day basis, and then her actually living it, you know. So then you have those type of moms who only had 1 biological child, but then she has 2 new ones, and you know, she brings in as many more as she can to help out through the transition to finding either their forever home or going back to their parents. So
I think now that I'm a little bit out of it, you know, I've already been through that. I feel that if I were to go back to being a foster mom, obviously this is speaking once I have my own house and I don't have to ask permission, if I can bring anybody, you know. Yeah. But if I were to go back to being a foster mom, I would want to do it the way she does. You know, it's like you have your adopted kids, the ones you know that are not going to go anywhere, that's your kids. Yeah. And I would be open to having foster kids, because it's like, one, here's kids that they can make friends with my kids, you know, this and that. You provide them a loving and caring home. Of course, in my case, a very strict home where there's structures, yes. But once I know that I have my kids here, you know, the kids that are not going anywhere, letting go of the ones that do get to go back to their homes with their parents after their parents have done their programs, after their parents have done everything possible to get their kids back, I could probably feel it a little bit less painful to let them go, knowing that these are my kids and these are not going anywhere. Yeah. But it's easier for me to let go, knowing that they're gonna go to a happy home, and you know, God willing, you know, go to a happy home like my nieces and nephews. You know, they went back to their parents and they're beyond happy and they're doing great and they're thriving and they're all doing great. So that's the type of, I think if I were to foster again, it would be like that. Yeah. Like, let me adopt, or, you know, or foster to adopt, you know, but it would be a transition. But I would love to do that, because
I think I'm gonna force Bob, once our kids grow up, to start fostering. He has no choice.
Nuh-uh.
So with this being said, you know, Sarah, we both, you know, still want to like give out major props to our moms.
Yes.
For showing us what mom's love is, for teaching us how we should love, not just our children, but like in general. Yeah. And you know, I
being
know.
great grandmas too.
Oh my God. Well,
Yeah.
my mom was like, you not your typical Latina mom. I think your mom's not like that either.
No.
Where, you know, oh, mija, go out to the club. I'll stay with the kids.
Nah.
I have friends like that, and I'm just like, what? My mom was not like that. My mom was like, bitch, where you going? You'll be back in 2 hours, and this kid's going to be spoiled by the time you get back with sugar and toys, you know? But, like, still, like, the way she loves my kids, it's a whole different level. You know, obviously it's easier and funner for her because she gets to do what she wants and then pushes them back. But, you know, I feel like both as you and I have learned to be that mom figure or mother in kids' lives thanks to our own mothers and what they've taught us and how they've guided us in life. I know I was scared shitless of my mom growing up because she would lay the law down, but now I see why, you know?
Because you have to.
Yeah. And I'm sort of the same way. I'm more bitchy, but I still feel like I can't see I hate it, and I do hate it, although I love my mother when Bob tells me, oh my God, you got some of your mom's mannerisms, or oh my God, I could see your mom doing that. And then now that my sister's living with me, he'll tell her, doesn't she act like your mom? Doesn't she sound like your mom? And my sister obviously,
she's my mom.
And then she's so weird, like, oh yeah, oh my God, you're such like you're being just like mom. And I'm just like, oh my God, I can't help it, but I wouldn't change it. I love it.
No, that's your role model. That's who you grew up seeing, and of course you're gonna mirror her. You know, it's not a disrespect. It's actually a show of respect because you got to see what a mom should be like, and that's your example of what a mom should be like.
Yeah.
And, fortunately, she was a good mom, and she is a good mom. I know my mom had her faults. My mom was not perfect, but I love my mother. She grew up. She, you know, busted her ass off. She worked hard. She made sure there was always something to eat, even if it was, you know, tortillas with onions.
Onions?
Oh, girl, when we were kids, my mom
tortillas with onions.
My mom would make onion enchiladas because that's all it was. Yeah. That's all she could afford. She had tortillas, and she had onions, and she had enchilada sauce. So she would saute the onions, put them in the tortilla like an enchilada, and then put some sauce.
That sounds bomb, though.
No?
To me, fucking grilled onions like that.
Yeah.
Girl, no. I think my mom would make the sopa de frijoles negros. Los guatemaltecos, you know, with the pieces of meat in it. We will eat that bitch for a week. Yeah. You eat it with sopa. You eat it con arroz the next day. You smash it up the third day to eat it with your fucking frijoles. You fucking, oh my God.
And then frijolada the fourth day.
Yeah, no. Yeah. So, like, you know, but I do get that.
Yeah, my mom was like that. My mom, unfortunately, in the time when we were younger, my dad was not the most responsible, so my mom would go and, you know, my mom was the type of woman that would go, wake up at 5, 6 in the morning, go to the local church, do whatever she has to do to get a box of free food, come home, and she would do whatever she could with that food. I know at one point she was making cakes, like homemade cakes to sell the neighbors, so she can have a little money so she could feed us or buy us clothes or whatnot, even though my dad was working and my dad would pay the rent and the bills, but he wouldn't give her like, oh, this is for the food or anything. He would probably go and gamble it. So, it's, you know, as a mom, you know, you do these sacrifices, and my mom did them. And I mean, she kicked her ass, you know, she did her own stuff. She would go to the food pantries and see how she could figure it out for us to eat and have, you know, a healthy start, a healthy life. So, you know, that's the type of mom that I grew up with. And, you know, when she and my dad finally separated, you know, she worked on herself. She worked her ass off to make sure to provide for us as we were still growing. And now as a grandmother, I know when I needed her, I would call her and be like, hey mom, are you available? It's Friday night. I can go Uber tonight if you can watch the kids for a couple of hours. She'd be like, yeah, bring them over. She would watch the kids for me so I can go in Uber for a few hours.
To make extra money for the kids.
To make a little extra for the kids. So, I think she watched the kids once so I can go out. Mm-hmm. And I have the pictures, but I can't share them because of who is with me in the pictures. But I have the pictures where this individual took me to the movies. He was like, I'm taking you out. You need to have a night out. He took me to the movies and he seen my face and I looked
tired, dead. Really?
Because I was working as much as I could to come up with money to pay the rent, the bills, and to
provide for the kids. Yeah.
So I kind of got that from my mom because seeing the way that she was, it kind of pushed me to be the same way that she is. That she was, that was how I was going to be for the kids. Yeah. So, I mean, a mother is always an example, even when she feels that she's failing. Even a mother's failure is a good example for her kids.
Yes.
Because that's where you see.
Never think that you are failing. You take it as a learning lesson for yourself. And if your child understands, for your child too, period. Like I mentioned earlier in the show, there's no perfect mom. There are moms that overly clean. There are moms that don't clean. There are moms that cook every freaking meal. There's moms that cook only one meal a week. It doesn't matter as long as you're showing your child the love that they ask for. Because not every kid maybe asks for the love, but every kid deserves to be loved. And you show your love the way that your kid asks for your love. If your kid is needy, hugs, kisses, whatever, you do that. If your kid just wants you to write little love notes to them, you do that. You are the mom that you are meant to be for your child, period. And your love is always going to beat anything else for your child and your child as an adult. And I've said this to Bob, I've said this to multiple people. I've never in my life appreciated my mom until I became a single mom. Like, that's when I learned, like, poof, it blew in my head. It blew in my head, like, damn, my mom did a lot. Growing up, I felt like she did nothing, or she wasn't there, or she wasn't showing me this. No, once I became a single mom, I understood my mom, and that's when I fell in love with my mom even more.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, we just want to close this episode off with sending Chrissy Teigen and John Legend our heartfelt condolences on the loss of their son, Jack. Know that our love and prayers are with you guys. And you guys are a strong couple. And you
will overcome the pain of it.
Yeah.
And we can already see your positivity coming from this negative outcome, and we appreciate it as a human beings that we always put movie stars and famous people on a pedestal to see that you guys are human beings too. So we appreciate you guys being very open and vocal with your situation, and I know that at the end of the day it will help another couple, another woman, another husband, to see you guys are going through the same thing that they're maybe going through too, or have gone through. So
yes, and Chrissy Teigen, if you ever want to come into our show, you are more than welcome. Because I will love you, baby girl. All right.
Love to have you
so much.
You can sit right here, girl. This is the space saved for Miss Chrissy Teigen.
Alright guys, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. We hope you have a wonderful and amazing weekend and a great week ahead. We will be seeing you guys again next week. And join us next week as we continue, and we'll close off the series of I Am and start discussing between us what our next series will be about. But thank you so much for joining us. You guys have a great one. Have a great week. Take care. Have fun and stay safe.
Bye.
Bye.